Hello everyone, and welcome to the Captain Jimmy Pie Christmas Special 2017. Well, it's one hell of a packed Christmas show this year. We have a live from the workshop featuring the first Doctor from this year's Christmas special, not one, but two episodes of my audio series, a What I Fink Retro review of the Planet of Fire figure set, the announcement for the winners of the B&M Challenge, and lastly, a very special custom figure showcase. But we are going to kick things off first of all with a new episode of my audio series. Originally, I asked on Twitter if people would just like to see part 2 of my current episode, or parts 2 and 3 together, or an entirely new Christmas episode. And of course, people asked for an entirely new Christmas episode, which was a really stupid move on my part because I simply did not have the time to write a whole script, record it, and edit it. So I went for the second choice, parts 2 and 3 together. So let's kick things off with part 2 of the master plan.
Oh, Doctor. It took me so long to plan out the creation of my little toy tin man, and you bring him crashing down in mere seconds.
You have got to be kidding me.
And I'd stay quite still if I were you. One-handed I may be, but my aim with my TCE hasn't faltered, I assure you.
Doctor, what's going on?
Now, get back in the TARDIS.
You two aren't going anywhere.
TARDIS. You've scorched my TARDIS.
Be thankful you and the girl still have your lives. Besides, a few more scratches on that box of yours are hardly going to make a difference.
But how are you still alive? I mean, you're there, but you're here.
And personally, I can't decide which one of you is looking worse for wear.
As I previously warned you, Doctor, I might only have one hand, but my aim is still no less deadly. Let's keep things civilized, shall we?
Alright then.
So tell us, how exactly are you here? Come on, we've got questions aplenty.
Ah, yes. I think it's about time I regaled you with my little story.
Get comfortable now. We'll never shut him up now.
First, would you be so kind as to refresh me of your own memories, Doctor? What was the last you knew of me?
Kepler's spiral, I think.
Ah, yes. My, such a long time ago. Well, if memory serves, the Chancellery Guard was hunting me down, so I decided to...
You decided to do something clever, it didn't work, your TARDIS disintegrated, taking you with it, and what little there was left of you they took back to Gallifrey.
One good little boy's done his homework, but I think someone needs to see the teacher. I grade you F, Doctor. Although I seem to remember that your particular incarnation at the time wasn't all that good at piecing the evidence together.
All right then, oh learned one, by all means, fill in the gaps.
My TARDIS disintegrated, yes, but I wasn't in it. Well, not all of me. You see, I need to convince them that I died, and what better way to do that than to make sure they had a body to recover?
But surely they'd have known that it wasn't your body. Doctor, you said you could recognize each other on sight.
Yes, and that extends to body parts. We can recognize the unique structure of the DNA of each Time Lord, regardless of how many times it's been regenerated. It's a kind of mental birthmark among us. Which means you couldn't have used the parts from the Initiate. Time ram, right? I'm guessing that's why your TARDIS disintegrated.
That damn inexperienced fool thought it could stop me without even the forethought that it could have killed us both. As soon as I realized what he was about to do, I transmitted myself to his TARDIS and incapacitated him. Then without two TARDISes fighting against each other, I could easily time ram mine. My TARDIS crashes and the Time Lords assume me dead, strewn across the plains of Calexis 4.
Calexis 4? That's where that Golarium is from.
I think I'm starting to see where this is going, so let's see if I can pick it up from here. You need a body, but more than that, you need your body, or at least a very close approximation. Now, you can't clone a Time Lord, it's physically impossible, but if you could clone a body, a universal clone, as it were, and infuse it with your DNA, that means the Time Lords would find the remains, already beginning to break down, and they just assume it's due to the effects of temporal radiation from your disintegration of your TARDIS, naturally breaking down your DNA. But you can't just extract DNA from yourself. You need to grow the body from something.
Everyone has to make sacrifices in the name of life, Doctor. In my case, it was my right hand. I was able to grow a body from it. Unstable, dying from the moment it was born, but enough evidence to leave in my TARDIS to convince the Time Lords I died in the crash.
But you're a Time Lord. Why didn't you just grow another one, or regenerate into a fresh body? You look like you need one.
Because he can't. He's used up all his regenerations. When a Time Lord doesn't have any more regenerations, our last body starts dying and eventually decays. That's the final curse of the Time Lords. Unless properly euthanized, any Time Lord that reaches the end of their regenerative cycle has to continue living and watch as our bodies rot. Drives most of them mad before the end.
So, is that why he looks like Two-Face then?
Exactly. There's no regeneration energy left, and he can't and won't go back to Gallifrey to die because he refuses to die on general principle, don't you, Master?
I will do anything to prolong my life, Doctor. It's all right for you, because as everyone on Gallifrey knows, you might never even know the curse of the Time Lords.
What does he mean, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor. Tell her your story.
So you scuttle off in someone else's TARDIS and the Time Lords pick up the pieces. But they didn't take them back to Gallifrey, did they?
They were too afraid of me.
Because as long as pieces of you exist on Gallifrey, there is a very real chance that you might come back. So they do the next best thing. They bring forward the last piece of Golarium in time and seal up your remains and leave it on Calexis 4. Because that way, they know where your remains are, sealed up, and exactly where they left them.
As much as I dislike them, Doctor, I have to give the Time Lords credit on that one.
But just not as much credit as yourself. Because you planned this all along, didn't you?
This is where the Cybermen enter our story. And whilst it wasn't a factor in my original plans, this is where you enter as well.
Oh, I'm very sorry to have messed up your depraved schedule.
Oh, but my dear Doctor, if it weren't for your intervention, this would have taken far longer. Before all this happened, I struck a deal with the Cybermen. They would be given the location of my earthly remains, at which point they would be released to them and upgraded cybernetically. Then I could help them infiltrate Gallifrey.
To what end?
Well, for me, a new regeneration cycle. For the Cybermen, as many Time Lord bodies as they want, free to experiment until they find what they're looking for.
Which is what?
Regeneration, my dear. Regeneration. Just think of it. A Cyberman powered by regenerative energy. The capability to repair its circuits nearly instantaneously.
That's insane!
It's ridiculous.
I know. It's wonderful.
Okay, let me just see if I can catch up here. The Golarium remains get transported from Calexis 4 to the research station. You make sure the Cybermen know its location, so the Cybermen use the clone parts to create that sparkling piece of junk, which by our unfortunate intervention they obtained more easily than they should have. And so they create your cyber clone, at which point they think it's you, but you've always been controlling it without them knowing.
Oh, come on, Doctor. You've so very nearly got it.
But you've been deliberately working behind the scenes. You don't want the Cybermen to know you're still really alive, because otherwise, why wouldn't they just take your body? So in an effort to provide a backup plan, you sent out a distress signal, knowing full well a Time Lord of some description would pick it up given the tracer on your stolen TARDIS. That way, if you're ever discovered, you can offer up a substitute. Because the Cybermen are never going to get to the secret to regeneration. That was the plan all along, wasn't it?
Now you understand, Doctor.
I don't.
If the Cybermen find the secret to obtaining regenerations, then the Master takes it for himself and runs off. If the Cybermen do start attacking Gallifrey, then one of their wayward sons, comes to the rescue, defeats the Cybermen, establishes himself as a hero, and convinces them to give him a new regeneration cycle.
Is that the sound of being impressed in your voice, Doctor?
No, because you've overlooked one tiny little factor.
Which is what, Doctor?
Tracers.
Oh, please, Doctor. When you fried my little toy, you destroyed the tracer as well. The Time Lords have no idea what's going on or where to find us.
The Time Lords know, but the Cybermen, did they really think they'd let you wander off on your own? Maybe not in the way they thought you would, but even the Cybermen would suspect you of double-crossing them.
What's your point, Doctor?
They put a tracer in the clone.
What?
F, Master. I grade you F. 0. Null point. You might think she's just a boring little human child, but in this case, boring little human child 1, Time Lord Master Plan wannabe 0. And it sounds as if our friends have just arrived.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. Be sure to stay tuned for part 3 and the final part of the master plan. But now, we move forward. And forward in time, as it were. No doubt as some of you are watching this, you are, like me, eagerly awaiting this year's Christmas special Twice Upon a Time. Well, prepare for an early appearance by the first Doctor from this year's special in this episode of Live from the Workshop. Hello everyone and welcome to another Live from the Workshop. Now, if all is going to plan and there are no schedule changes, you are watching this hopefully on either Christmas Day or Boxing Day, so happy Christmas. For me, it's actually the end of August, it's nearly the 1st of September, so yeah, as usual in the world of entertainment, things are filmed well in advance. But what I'm going to be making today is the first Doctor from this year's Christmas special. You're either going to watch it tonight or you are going to be watching it, you've already seen it, and it's Boxing Day, so you will have seen it yesterday. So yes, I'm going to make the first Doctor from that episode. So what I've got here is actually a half and half figure. This actually is 2 figures in one. Originally, obviously, it's an Unearthly Child figure that I've got the cloak and head from. However, the coat and the waistcoat was actually off an 11 Doctors box set 10th or the first Doctor figure. So what I'm going to do for this is I've swapped over the coat already, so I'm going to repaint the bow tie into a blue. I'm going to take a little bit of artistic liberty with this to probably what is seen in the episode, mainly because at the time of recording this we haven't really seen much more than the trailer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to repaint the tie blue, because it was originally blue on the costume, and it would have been blue in the original 10th Planet episode, when it seems that the first Doctor, again we've only seen the trailer at this point so I'm speculating, it seems that these events take place during the 10th Planet. So essentially what I'm going to do for this is to repaint the tie and repaint the scarf, and I might add some other smaller details, but first things first is to get on with the repaint of the tie. So And so here is my finished Twice Upon a Time First Doctor figure. Now, I've made a few small updates which you won't have seen in the video. Firstly, I decided to go with some fingerless gloves. Obviously, at the end of World and Time Enough, we see that he's got full leather gloves, but at the time of recording this, the promos we have seen, he does have fingerless gloves as well, and I decided that the fingerless gloves were a bit more accurate. I thought that you know, for the sake of I had a pair of fingerless gloves from a Primeval Connor figure, so I just thought, I've got them, I might as well do them, and so I did that. And the other addition that I've made is I've got a little bit of gold chain that was from a model railway kit set. I'm pretty sure if you looked online you can find them somewhere. And then I've just sculpted on a little clasp, and then I've just glued the chain underneath the other side of the cloak, just to add a little bit more difference to the figure as well, and just to make it look that little bit more to how he would appear how he appears in Twice Upon a Time. Apart from that, literally all I've done is repaint the scarf, obviously, and then the body is just a standard First Doctor body. Repainted the tie blue. Again, Twice Upon a Time it's black, but as we know from behind the scenes photos and everything, the actual tie that the First Doctor wore was a dark blue rather than a black one, so I decided to do that. And that's pretty much it. You know, I haven't done anything to the back other than other than paint the back of the scarf. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how this has come out, and again, I know it's not something that that character options normally do, especially when they release other sets and things like that. They don't generally combine parts and things like that. But I have to say, if you take away the clasp and the fingerless gloves, if you just had normal full black glove hands, or you just had plain hands with no gloves on them, and you take away the clasp and the chain, just doing a simple repaint like this and combining the Unearthly Child head and cape with the normal First Doctor body, this would be a great variant for them to release and re-release as you know, part of a next wave of figures, either as a box set of the Christmas figures, or just as a standalone figure. I certainly think if they just put the cloak on the normal body and repainted the scarf cream, I think so many fans will look at this and they would think that's brilliant. It's definitely one worth buying. And the good thing about it as well is, if they did then do this, is that if they release this as a figure, and then fans could easily just make the changes that I've made themselves. It would be so easy for them to do. So I certainly think that this is one that they should look at releasing in future, because I really think that it would be very popular among the fans. But it's a nice figure to have as part of my collection as well, because with the exception of my First Doctor that's on my shelf along with all my other Doctors, I only have, and you won't have seen this yet, so I won't tell you what it is, but I only have one other First Doctor custom in my collection that I've made. So that is one that you're going to see in future. But it's nice to have this as part of my collection, because it is something that a bit different to things that I've normally done. And so I'm really pleased with how this has come out. And I certainly hope that this is one that inspires other people to do the same and make a custom of a similar nature. So usually for a What I Think review, I would review something that I had been given for Christmas. However, as I said earlier, this year I decided to do a bit of a retro review. As many people will know, as part of my classic boxed collection, I have a 5th Doctor and Ainley Master Planet of Fire figure set. And as luck would have it, very recently I was lucky enough to get my hands on both of these figures out of the box as well, so I thought it was about time to do another retro review. And so here it is, the Planet of Fire Classic box set. So obviously, as many of you will know, I have this boxed version which I've had on my shelves, but I was lucky enough to get the figures out of box as well, so we're going to look at both of them. I will look at the box first. So again, it's a very nicely presented box, fits in well with the other classic, ones we've had. This was an exclusive to the 2010 San Diego Comic-Con, and obviously we've got information on the back about the Fifth Doctor and the Master as he appeared in Planet of Fire. Yeah, it's a lovely looking box. It's a great figure, great set of figures that look really nice in the box. But obviously, that is the box. We will get on to looking at the figures themselves now. So obviously, we have the Master, and we have the Fifth Doctor. So the Fifth Doctor is basically just a Fifth Doctor figure. Obviously, he's got the hat and he's got the standard. Standard trousers. Yeah, there's not really a huge amount to say about the Fifth Doctor figure. It is a very nice Fifth Doctor figure. I know some people have said it would have been great if they had a non-coated version with this set, but obviously, to be fair, this was produced at a time when they weren't producing sort of many different variants of the Doctor. However, I certainly think if they ever did release this set, it could be a good way of having a a new variant of the Fifth Doctor without his coat. But obviously, the thing that most people buy this set for is, of course, the Anthony Ainley Master figure. So I'm going to try and bring this a bit closer to camera. Now I have to just adjust myself, sorry, because I'm having to record this in a very limited space. So yeah, so the detail on the head is very nice. It's a fantastic. It is a fantastic looking figure of Anthony Ainley, and obviously the detail. Obviously, we've got a waistcoat under there as well. Now, the interesting thing about this, and I will just put this figure back, and I will actually bring in, because there's not a huge amount really to review about this figure. That's the thing that I think a lot of people really wanted to see me review this, but there's not a huge amount to review, so I apologise if this isn't going to be a very long review. But what's interesting that I will use this review to talk about is, first of all, something that not a huge amount of people actually know, is the Anthony Ainley figure, this version, with the exception of the coat and the head, obviously, this body, and the hands as well, I believe, I could be wrong on that, the hands might be the same, but anyway, this Anthony Ainley figure is actually based on the Series 3 Harold Saxon Master suited figure, and literally the only differences that this figure has is the jacket and the head. Obviously, the head is an Anthony Ainley head, but the jacket. What a lot of people think, I have seen some people said, oh well, what they did with this is they just the jacket. It's basically all over the same. It's a Master figure, and then they've just added a waistcoat underneath. They haven't actually done that. The jacket is actually an entirely new, separate piece, because the waistcoat is actually part of the jacket sculpt. So if I did take the jacket apart, basically the jacket obviously opens that way, and then the waistcoat would actually be on this side of the sculpt of the jacket. So it's interesting that they've reused the same Master. So they've used a new series Master sculpt to create a classic series Master. But you know, it works really well. It's a fantastic figure. Now, another thing that a lot of people query is that a lot of people say, and I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but I will talk about it in this video as well, because obviously this is the video in question of the figure in question. A lot of people have said, why haven't they re-released Anthony Ainley's Master, either in his standard costume, or just re-release this figure? Now, basically, and I stress to add that I could be wrong about this. I can only repeat what I have heard. Is this figure was released, and then for whatever reason, maybe it was one of money, maybe it was one of licensing, but there was an issue with the estate of Anthony Ainley and those who hold the copyright and license and use of his likeness. At which point, character options in the BBC weren't allowed to further license any figures of Anthony Ainley. And as far as I'm aware, that is still an ongoing issue. I don't know the exact nature behind it. And as I said, I could have this wrong. I can only repeat what I have heard. But it certainly seems that that's why we've not had any figures of Anthony Ainley. Now, personally, if I just bring this figure back up close to the camera again, I'm hoping it's going to track in. Personally, I actually think that this is a absolutely superb likeness of Anthony Ainley. I think it's absolutely spot on. And so I think many people would love to see an official release in his proper outfit, and I know some people would like to see a release of his costume he wore in Survival. But personally, I think they should release this version because we know for a fact that the sculpt and everything exists still. Well, one would assume that the head sculpt and the jacket sculpt still exist. We know for a fact that the body sculpt exists. Yeah, I think it's definitely a figure that they should re-release, and I certainly hope that they do in future, because it is a figure that so many fans want, even just for the head and make their own bodies. It's a figure that so many fans want, and I think it's a real shame that we have never seen this re-release. Those of you who've seen my B&M challenge video will know that I talked about how you could have a Planet of Fire set with the Fifth Doctor, but just as re-releases. You could have the Fifth Doctor, you could have Perry from the Caves of Andromeda set, and then you could have this version of the Master. Now, obviously, as I said, it would be great if one day we saw this re-released, perhaps with a new variant of the Fifth Doctor. But as a re-release set, you could easily do this. You could easily do a Planet of Fire set. So yeah, I mean, again, I know I say this a lot of times, and I'm pretty sure it's not the case, but Character Options, BBC, Underground Toys, whoever, if you're listening, and the Estate of Anthony Ainley, if you are listening, this is an absolutely superb figure. I get the feeling that if there is a disagreement, as usual, it's probably one of money, but if it is any kind of disagreement with the use of this particular likeness, it's an absolutely superb likeness. I think it really captures Anthony Ainley's Master, and so I certainly hope that we do see this re-released again in future at some point. But yeah, that is my Planet of Fire classic set review. As I said, there's not really a huge amount to review with these figures, because they are, it's a standard Fifth Doctor. The Anthony Ainley figure is brilliant, and the box is the box. I can only review it to so much of an extent, but it's fantastic to have these figures. If you can get the Fifth Doctor is a Fifth Doctor, as I said, it's always nice to have. If you can get the Anthony Ainley figure out of box, if you ever come across it, they are rare, so they can cost quite a lot. But believe me, it doesn't look like we're going to get a re-release of this anytime soon. So if you do see one of these figures online, buy it. Buy it and just get it, whatever the price, because it is absolutely worth it. It's a fantastic figure. It's very rare, and if you ever see this set boxed, especially mint in box, where it's never been opened, definitely get it. Definitely buy it. Again, whatever the price, because it is only going to go. The value of it's only going to go up. It's well worth getting if you can find them and come across them. And that brings to a close my Planet of Fire classic figure set review. Well, it's about time to head back to the TARDIS, or should I say, the Master's TARDIS, for part 3 and the final part of the Master Plan. The Cybermen have arrived, and the Doctor and Nell are caught between them and the Master.
The Time Lords have no idea what's going on or where to find us.
The Time Lords know, but the Cybermen, did they really think they'd let you wander off on your own? Maybe not in the way they thought you would, but even the Cybermen would suspect you of double-crossing them.
What's your point, Doctor?
They put a tracer in the clone.
What?
F, Master. I grade you F. 0. Null point. You might think she's just a boring little human child, but in this case, boring little human child 1, Time Lord Master Plan wannabe, nil. And it sounds as if our friends have just arrived. Well, Master, as fun as it's been catching up, I call this our cue to leave. Nell, to the TARDIS.
Right behind you, Doctor.
Hey, what the...
Doctor, why can't we get in?
Oh, please, young lady. Did you really think I'd let my insurance against the Cybermen leave so easily? You have your sonic screwdriver, Doctor, and I have this.
Your tissue compression eliminator?
Well, that's one name for it, or at least one of its functions. I suppose a more appropriate name would be a universal remote.
Oh, if you've turned off my VHS box from out here, I will be really annoyed. If I miss the Sherlock 2213 special, it'll be on your head. It's called The Return of Moriarty's Brain. It's going to be a good one.
Even in the face of peril, you still jest, Doctor. Did it even occur to you that when I fired at you earlier, I was aiming for your TARDIS and not you?
What have you done?
I've deadlocked your TARDIS, Doctor. As I said, I'm hardly going to let my insurance just run off.
And you think I'll just go quietly, do you?
Far from it, my friend. By ensuring you can't leave, unless you want to be taken forcibly by the Cybermen, I guess you'll have to help both of us escape.
Doctor, you thought you could try and escape with help. I can only assume it is the Master. However, it is of little concern. We have brought you on board the cyber ship. You have nowhere to run.
Hello again. Well, for starters, I wouldn't exactly call it help. He's conned me as much as he has you.
It matters not. We will give you both an ultimatum. Master, give us the Doctor, and you will be allowed to go free. Doctor, the same applies to you about the Master. You have 5 minutes to decide. Otherwise, we will enter the TARDIS by force.
So, Master, what was the backup plan, eh? What if all your little schemes of getting regenerations failed? What did you expect to happen next?
If you hadn't interfered, I wouldn't be in this mess. My plans would have gone perfectly if you hadn't waltzed into the midst of things. But you want a backup plan? How's this for one? If you don't fix the damage you've done to my TARDIS and come with me, then your Earthling girl dies.
You so much as even remotely look at her the wrong way, and I will kill you myself.
And then once I'm done with her, I'll come for you. How many regenerations do you have left, Doctor? More than anyone else, I should think. More than any other Time Lord. Maybe I'll keep you in my TARDIS until you're the one left decaying and dead.
Enough! Both of you just shut it! Do you really think this petty squabbling is going to get us anywhere? In about 5 minutes, we're going to have Cybermen coming through those doors whether you like it or not. So for God's sake, put aside your differences and work out a way of getting everyone out of this.
Well, aren't you a spirited little thing?
Be quiet, you.
Come on, Doctor. There has to be some way everyone can get out of this. Otherwise, what are our options?
We give him up to the Cybermen.
At which point they'd kill you both, Doctor. The same would happen if I gave them you. It's a lose-lose situation.
Come on, Doctor. Think. There must be something. And you, if you're such a master at things, then between you two, you must be able to come up with some solution.
There is one possible solution, but it's very risky.
I trust you, Doctor.
Oh, well, I don't.
Believe me, the feeling is mutual. But if we're going to get out of this, then you're going to have to.
All right then, Doctor. Tell me this master plan of yours.
Well, first we need to fix this TARDIS. Then you need to set a time dematerialization.
And watch you run off leaving me here? Not likely.
As much as I'd like to, no. I need you to set it for both of our TARDISes. And the next step? Well, that's the tricky part.
Oh, please do tell us.
We're going to surrender to the Cybermen.
Time is up, Doctor. All of you will come out, or we'll force our way in.
Yes, all right, we're here. You did turn on the EDP, didn't you?
Don't take me for a fool, Doctor. I followed your directions to the letter. Now just make good on your side of things.
Don't worry, I will. Nell, you just hang back, all right? The less concerned they are about you, the better.
You've got it, Doctor.
You will not speak amongst yourselves.
Sorry, my dear fellow, just discussing the, minor details of our deal.
You have chosen one to be taken.
Yes, well, no. Well, sort of. We've chosen.
But we've chosen neither.
This is disappointing. Very well. You will both be taken.
Well, now, before you do that, I feel perhaps we should reconsider, don't you?
It does seem like the logical thing to do, and we know how much you silver devils like a bit of logic.
Very well. Which will be taken?
Well, just before that, answer me this. Why should we play this little game with you? What's in it for the winner?
This is not a game. There is no playing.
Oh, but playing is so much fun. Playing cricket, playing blackjack.
Playing murder in the dark?
Playing the guitar.
Playing off each other, playing with a dog, playing with a cat, playing for time, playing. So many different things can be played.
Just like you are playing us, Cyber Leader.
You will explain that statement.
See, that's the problem with the Cybermen. Without your emotions, you're so easy to read. You're all tell. You have no poker face.
I was once acquainted with a charming young lady who said that. I wonder what happened to her.
She's an alien queen.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's fairly obvious when you think about it.
Oh yes, I suppose so.
Enough! You will cease this mindless chatter and answer me. Which will be taken?
Don't you get it? None of us will be taken. Whoever you take, you'll just kill the other, so why should we give each other up?
Then you will all be taken, or you will all die.
Oh, well that sounds like a much better offer.
You will choose.
No, we won't. And you know why? Because we don't have to.
There is no escape.
In any normal circumstances, you'd be right. But what with a significant temporal anomaly only a few feet away from us, these are hardly normal circumstances.
What is this temporal anomaly?
Well, from an outside perspective, it might seem like you've captured a TARDIS, or maybe a... What is that thing disguised as, by the way?
It's a cyber reconstruction chamber, similar to those that made my recently departed metal friend.
Ah, that makes sense, I suppose. Anyway, what you lot don't know is you've captured 2 TARDISes. Congratulations!
Where is this second TARDIS?
Inside that one. An odd occurrence, but it has been known to happen. It's usually never too much of a problem thanks to the EDP system.
I've been meaning to ask you what this is. You didn't tell me.
Emergency displacement protocol, my dear girl. With all those tiresome Time Lords rattling around the universe in their TARDISes, it's inevitable that at some point 2 TARDISes will try to land at exactly the same moment in exactly the same time. Invariably, this results in one TARDIS materializing inside the other.
When that happens, the EDP deadlocks both TARDISes until they've materialized, and then displaces them at exactly the same time, but just a few feet away from each other, and then removes the deadlocks so the inhabitants can leave.
Ah, now I get it. So, how long now?
Oh, I'd say about 4, 3...
2, 1...
now! Of course, with a bit of minor tinkering and remote access between the TARDISes, the EDP can also be programmed to quickly dematerialize a TARDIS to any random point in space and time at a given moment.
You cannot escape. Cyber units, destroy them.
I think we'd better be leaving, Doctor.
Yes, I think you're right. Nell, into the TARDIS.
Way ahead of you. That has to be the closest of close shaves we have ever had, Doctor. What's wrong? The Master?
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we've got away, but I meant what I said about the universe being a more peaceful place without him. But now he's back in it, well, things might start to get a bit restless. Still, hopefully the time must be more preoccupied with him rather than me.
What'd you say?
No, nothing, just thinking out loud. It's not important. What is important is where should we go next?
Somewhere without Cybermen.
I know just the place. Covent Garden, October 14th, 4165. Drury Lane Theatre, the Monty Python Revival Tours. Literally.
Sounds perfect, but I could do with something to eat first.
Me too, actually. Let's go and see what's in the kitchen. We could have egg and bacon, or egg, sausage and bacon, egg and spam, egg, bacon and spam, egg, bacon, sausage and spam, spam, bacon, sausage and spam.
I don't like spam.
Nell!
You disappoint me, Doctor. All that talk of us being more alike, and yet you didn't see this coming.
Where's Nell? What have you done with her?
She's safe and sound in my TARDIS, Doctor, and she will remain so, as long as you leave me alone.
Master, I swear to you I don't have any interest in following you. If anything, I want you as far away from me as possible, then the Time Lords might be more concerned with you than they are with me.
I wish I could believe you, Doctor. I really do. But if there's one way we are most definitely alike, it's a mutual distrust of the other. However, I give you my word, as long as you keep way, the human child will come to no harm.
Then why are you doing this?
Revenge, Doctor. Simple revenge. It's because of you that I'm in this state. It's because of you I was denied more life. I might not be able to retake the lives you stole from me, so I'll just take the next best thing.
Master, please. She's all I have.
Such touching sentiment. But I must correct you, Doctor. She's all you had.
Master.
Master! Not again. I am not losing her again.
Well, it's time. It's finally here. It is time to announce the winners of the B&M challenge. And for this, I'm going to hand over to not one, but two of my future selves. I'll just go get them. Right, hello everyone. So as you can see, I'm wearing a different t-shirt because I'm actually filming this on the 17th of December. Because nothing in my Christmas special is actually ever filmed on Christmas Day. So just to recap, I wanted to give everyone who entered a chance at winning. So I have here a bowl full of entries. So there has been a slight change of plan in how the winners are going to be picked. There is no longer going to be a Twitter poll. Instead, I'm going to pick the winners now here on this Christmas special. However, as you may have been noticing, I'm saying winners, and that's because there are now actually going to be 3 winners, 2 runners-up, and 1 main winner. The runners-up, along with the main winner, will all receive a custom 375 painted Dalek. However, the main winner will also receive a 2-part mystery prize. Now, I wanted to give everyone who entered a chance at winning, so I have here a bowl full of the entries I have received. Now, obviously, some people did have the same idea as others. So to avoid picking 2 winners who had the same idea, once I've picked 1 winner, I'm going to go back through this bowl and remove the entries who also had the same idea as the winner who's just been chosen. So it's time to announce the entries. I'm going to try and put a picture up on screen of the entry that I have received. And I apologise if I stumble over my words slightly on this part, because this is unfortunately a part that I can't really script. So let's pick the first winner. And I've got 1, I'm going to put down the bowl. And the winner, the first runner-up, I should say, is Felix Schiffer for his Sea Devils set. So hopefully, if all goes to plan with this part of the editing, Felix's Sea Devils set will be appearing up on the screen for you. I actually have it here on my phone, so just reviewing it, I have to say that Felix, I think the Sea Devils set that you've put up is brilliant. I think it'd be fantastic to see the Sea Devils re-released in future. So I've removed a few entries because there were a few other people who had Sea Devils set, so let's get on to picking our second winner. It's actually quite, I don't know why I'm talking to the camera with my eyes closed, but even I'm getting quite tense with this. I think I picked up 2 then. So let's, no, I got 2 again. So the problem with folding them all up like this is you pick up 2 by accident. Right, is that 1? I think that's 1, okay. And the second runner-up is, it's a Twitter one, and it is @JamesMarshFred for his 2 Doctors set. So, James Marsh Fred's design, set, I've got it here, hopefully you've got it up on the screen as well. Features a greyer-haired version of the second Doctor, a repaint of Perry, and also a classic Sontaran. I think it's a brilliant design, James, simply because, as I have mentioned in my review of the B&M Monster set, I think it would be fantastic if we got a classic Sontaran re-release. So, fantastic design. Well worth entering, and definitely one that I hope we would see in future. Right, a few more entries have gone because obviously some people also had the 2 Doctors set idea themselves. So now we are on to the overall winner. Oh, I got 2. Oh, I got 3 there. Come on. And right, I'm just gonna pluck. Right. And the overall winner is... It's another one from Twitter. And it is at Graham Probably for his Ultimate Adventure set. So again, you should see it on screen. I've got it here. Graham's Ultimate Adventure set. He has included the Cyber Leader, a normal Cyberman, and a repainted version of the 6th Doctor from the Ultimate Adventure. It's a fantastic looking set, I have to say, and a brilliant way of celebrating a fantastic stage show. Right, well, now that's done, I can get back on to some scripted ground, albeit some hastily written scripted ground. So obviously Felix and Jamie, sorry, I did call you James earlier, I wrote it down on the piece of paper wrong. Felix and Jamie, you will both be contacted in the new year to get your 375 repainted Daleks as your prizes. But for Graham, and those of you wondering about the mystery prize, well, I will let my other future self explain. And I'm back. So for you guys, it's only been a few seconds, but for me, as you can see from my change in t-shirt once again, and my hair, it's actually been a few days. I am not the same me I was when I recorded the other part, because this part is being recorded on the 20th of December. So of course, well done to Felix, Jamie and Graham. You will all be contacted in the new year to arrange your 375 custom painted Daleks. And once again, a big thank you to everyone who entered. But now we get on to the mystery prize. Now it's actually a twofold prize, so firstly we have an actual extra prize. Fittingly, because this is the B&M challenge, Graham, you will also be receiving this B&M Monsters set, featuring the Tomb Cyberman, the new version of the Attack Cyberman, and the Sontaran score. So this set, along with the 375 custom painted Dalek, will be winging its way to you in the new year, Graham. And so now we move on to the second part of the mystery prize. This is not an actual physical prize as such, but it is something that will immortalise Graham's winning design, with a few creative tweaks from me, forever in the background of my videos. So I once again hand over to myself for a very special custom figure showcase. Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special custom figure showcase, because this is actually part 2 of the B&M Challenge Mystery Prize. So for those not watching this video when it originally went up, the part 1 of the Mystery Prize, which went to Graham Probably, was a B&M set of the monsters featuring the Tomb Cyber Controller, the new version of the Attack Cyberman, and the Sontaran score. But there was a very special second part to this mystery prize that, as I said, if you are watching this in the Christmas special, if you are not, I'll say it again now, is going to immortalise Graham's design on my shelves in the future of my videos forevermore. And that is because under this sheet, or towel I should say, is in fact Graham's winning design in real B&M form. Now, I will just say, obviously, yes, this isn't quite Graham's winning design, but there is a very good reason for the design changes that I have made. Originally, I had planned to use 2 Cybermen in this box set as Graham had shown in his original design, with a normal Cyberman, the 6th Doctor, as he is here, and then the Cyber Leader as he is in the middle. However, this box set actually started out life as another of the B&M Monsters sets. So obviously this Cyberman came with this set, and the only other spare one I had was in the prize box set, which I've also given, or am giving, depending on when you're watching this video, to Graham. As such, I couldn't get hold of another spare Cyberman in time, but then I had a brainwave. Now, for those unaware, the Ultimate Adventure was a stage show that originally had John Pertwee in his role as the 3rd Doctor, but later in the show's run, Colin Baker took over as the 6th Doctor. And I remembered somewhere in the bottom of a box, I had a Planet of the Spiders 3rd Doctor custom, which is what I call one of my rainy day customs. A rainy day custom is one that I didn't particularly want to show on my channel as there wasn't much to it, but as I happened to have the parts, I just decided to make it anyway. And so I realised, with the addition of a cloak and an overall repaint, this would look like the 3rd Doctor as he appeared in the Ultimate Adventure. So just to go over the customs in this box set in general, we have obviously the 6th Doctor, which is just a normal 6th Doctor repainted in the Ultimate Adventure colours. Then the Cyberman, as I said, is just the normal Attack Cyber Leader, the Cyberman that comes with the B&M Monsters box set. And then all I've done for that is just repaint the head handles to give him the Cyber Leader look. And then the 3rd Doctor is a regenerated 4th Doctor body, which has been repainted, obviously with the 3rd Doctor's head and hands added, and also a cloak, which obviously has also been repainted. And I also decided to keep the Cyberman's gun as an accessory for this as well. So obviously, in order to make this, Graham's design has had to lose a Cyberman, but it has gained a Doctor. And it also got me thinking that if B&M ever did release a set like this, then perhaps they could release it with a copy of Big Finish's audio adaptation of The Ultimate Adventure, perhaps making it a 30th anniversary celebration box set of The Ultimate Adventure that could be released, however, albeit it's very unlikely, in 2019. And obviously it's not just the figures inside this box as well. As you will notice, I have also made up custom labels. So we have, includes the 3rd Doctor, the 6th Doctor and Cyber Leader. The Ultimate Adventure Collector's Figure Set. On the top here, the Ultimate Adventure Collector's Figure Set. On the side, we have the Ultimate Adventures Collector's Figure Set, includes the 3rd Doctor, 6th Doctor and the Cyber Leader, with the 3rd Doctor and the Cyber Leader. On this side, obviously again, Ultimate Adventure Collector's Book Set, 6th Doctor and Cyber Leader. I don't know why I'm talking so quickly, I'll slow down a bit. And obviously on the back as well. Now, unfortunately, this bit didn't come out as well as I'd hoped. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a gluing problem where there was some slight tearing. I may go back and redo this in future, but obviously this is actually going to be displayed on my shelves from the front, so you're not really going to see this, but I did just want to do this to make it really look the parts. Obviously, as I said, we've got the 3rd Doctor, the Cyber Leader, and the 6th Doctor. Obviously, there's a little bit of clipping on the edge here, because obviously it's actually quite hard to print this, because I had to print this on A4 paper, because I don't have an A3 printer, but this is actually slightly smaller than A4, so I had to try and make it fit as best I could. But yeah, I really wanted to make the box look the part, and I certainly think that it has come out well, and it really does look the part. And obviously, as I said, I have taken some artistic license with Graham's winning design to make this, but as I said, it was a mystery prize for this reason. I got the feeling that I was going to have to possibly take some artistic liberty with people's designs in order to make this second part to the mystery prize, as I said, which will be forever on my shelves now. Yeah, I'm very pleased with how it came out, and I loved Graham's original design, and I hope he doesn't mind, and I certainly hope he likes the updates that I have made to this. But of course, sadly, that brings to a close the end of the B&M challenge. A big thank you to everyone else who entered. And now I hand back over to myself in the past, or at least my very early past self. Not the guy you saw on the 17th, he isn't coming back. Sorry about that. And sadly, that brings to a close this year's Christmas special. Of course, all the things included in this year's Christmas special will be up tomorrow as separate videos, but for now, let me just say, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, favourite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot, and be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. There is an exclusive webcomic and rewards for people who support it, and the funding generated by my Patreon helps me fund future videos. I salute you all. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I will see you with another video very soon.